All right, here we go. We have R&B royalty back in the building. Lyfe Jennings, welcome back to VladTV.
Yo, what's up, boss?
Everything good, man. Everything good. Congrats on your continued success. You still doing out there, still doing shows, still, dropping hot songs. You're healthy. You look good.
Thank you.
Your kids are good. I know your son is running around the studio right now.
Yeah, he is somewhere.
That's what it is. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, we have a lot to talk about, but just because of the time-sensitive nature on it, I want to talk about what's happening with the Tory Lanez case. And you actually posted something about it on Instagram. By the time this comes out, the jury verdict will probably be out. What do you think about that whole thing?
What do you mean? What do I think is going to happen with the homie?
Well, I mean, let me say this, because you had a domestic dispute that involved guns and so forth. So, I mean, it's definitely not the same thing, but there are some similarities. You know what I'm saying? So, as someone that was involved in it, on the, in terms of being charged for it, when you look at this whole case with your perspective, what do you think?
I mean, I think that it's unfortunate. As far as the outcome of what's going to happen, I mean, everybody, wanna, I guess, go in and give their opinion on what's gonna happen or what's not gonna happen. And I don't really want to do that, man. It's just some doubt. There's some strong stuff from the prosecutor too, man. And it's unfortunate. Let me just say that. Hope the homie is all right.
Okay.
Don't send nobody to jail. I don't care what it is, bro. Charge him to the game. Make him pay out his nose, but don't send the homie to prison, though. You dig?
Okay. Do you know Tory at all?
Nah, I don't know him.
Okay. I mean, I did a lot of polls on the website, and a lot of people are actually siding with Tory. I mean, do you feel like, in a way, that, Megan is being shamed for this and so forth? Because a lot of people seem to have turned against her in the process, which to me is a little sad. I mean, because she is ultimately the victim in this. She got shot. I mean, that's been established.
I don't know what she is, man. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't there, but I will say, dealing with that jury, and I've dealt with the jury, man, it's a different kind of vibe. All the glitter and the lights don't mean nothing about this person not showing up, and because this person said that they had a red hat on when they really had a blue hat on. Like, the jury don't really be caring nothing about that, man. The jury is going to be fixed on what happened, what actually happened. So, I don't that shit kind of hard, man. That shit kind of hard,
Yeah. I mean, well, your situation, you end up getting 3.5 years, right?
Yeah, that wasn't hard because I did that shit, but, that's different.
Was yours a jury trial, or did you plead out?
I played out. I played to the original count of the indictment because I knew them folks wasn't about to play with me. So I was like, let me get out their way. Cats don't be understanding that, man. A lot of times you'll go to prison and they offer you a plea. They offer you a plea because they don't want to spend all that money for you to go through trial. But then if you try to buck the system because listen, they know what you did, bro. They got these satellites. It just ain't admissible as evidence, but they know what you did, bro. You know what I'm saying? So if you did it and you think there's a chance they're going to find out, man, take out that little bit of time, or bro, they're going to do you bad,
Well, for someone like you, you've done time before. This was your second bid. The first one was 11 years?
Yeah, I did 11 the first time.
Right. So when you did 11 and they're telling you 3.5, it sounds more doable in your head as opposed to someone who's never been to prison at all, like a Tory.
True story.
Yeah.
But man, you got it. Yeah. See, I've had several cases in my life. My little cousin, you know what I'm saying? He caught a body, and I told him, they offered him 11 years, and I say, bro, I know you're probably thinking right now, like, damn, I gotta go down for like a whole goose egg and a 1, right? But I said, bro, I done did it, and it go past. You don't want these folks giving you life. He didn't take it. They wound up giving him a whole L, and 11 years later, he like, bro, I should have listened. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the stomach for it, man.
I mean, in your situation, when you did the 3.5, if you took it to trial and you blew trial, what were you facing worst case?
Man, 5 years on both guns. Plus some other shit. Man, I was probably facing like 15. Yeah, something like that. But me, I done did it before. I said, these folks ain't about to trip me. Go ahead and run it. Go ahead and run it, man. I'm going to do it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, 3.5 when you're looking at 15, that sounds like a deal right there.
But see, cats don't see it like that. Cats be in their mind. You know, them little penitentiary lawyers be telling you, oh, you can beat it on this and that. Bro, they going to wind you up. You've been doing 15 years day to day. You dig? But that's me. And I done seen them come out to the cat and got off. So, you know, who knows, man?
Well, it is what it is. And by the time this video comes out, we'll probably know what happened, unless, of course.
But I think to me, the strongest part of that thing that them cats is going to be looking at, regardless of the rest of it, they going to say that girl, the friend, I forget the name, Meg, friend, whatever.
Kelsey Harris.
They going to say Kelsey told them people exactly what happened right after it happened. And in my mind, they going to try to play like that was the truth because that was right after it. All the rest of the stuff is cool, but I think that's the thing they gonna get stuck with, man.
Yep. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Everyone's tuned in. Well, you went viral recently, and you were singing at a concert, and the video came out, and there was I guess a caption from a girl that was at the concert, and it said, "I went to see Lyfe Jennings. When I tell you never the fuck again, I want my motherfucking money back." And I think Shade Room posted it, and suddenly Lyfe Jennings is back in the blogosphere once again. When you initially saw that, what did you think?
I thought it was funny. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody gonna have a bad night. Plus, if I'm singing in the key of C, and then you pair it with a video in the key of F sharp, as soon as you cut to that F sharp, it's gonna sound off regardless. So you dig what I'm saying? You had no kind of background for that. And then number two, I checked the name of the cat that put it in, and it's a whole dude. It's not even a girl. It's a whole dude that posted it. And the crazy part about it is that's the part of my show where I be singing to ladies. Like, you dig what I'm saying? I be talking about sexual stuff, all kind of stuff. So this guy, this whole dude got mad. This ain't even your part of the show, bro. You dig? So you out of line, you know?
Well, I've seen you sing live, and in no doubt, like, you could absolutely blow live.
Thank you.
Absolutely, 100%. And I remember, I think we talked about it last time, like, I was there at that Apollo show when you came on with your guitar and just tore it down. This was before you had a deal.
Oh, that was, yeah.
I was right there in Manhattan. I think it was at the Manhattan Center. You know what I'm saying?
Apollo ain't playing with you. If you can't sing, Apollo was not about to play with your ass, man.
A lot of people got booed that night. A lot of people got, the Sandman came out with the broom for a lot of people. Yeah, man.
Good days.
The Apollo crowd was rough. But it was weird because you came on, right? And I didn't know who you were. I don't think the crowd really knew who you were. And you just, as soon as that first note came on, it was like a standing ovation. And you tore it down.
There's a lot of love out there, man.
Let's talk about the new song, Till You Gone. Now, this was something that you put out independently, and you actually directed and produced this video, right?
Mm-hmm.
But leading up to the video, actually, in the process of making it, some issues arose.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, man.
Okay. Tell me what happened.
Guy, my partner, Super Cool, he booked the locations for the video. It was just a couple locations, and I don't even know what side of town we on, man. Like I was just slipping. Like I don't know. Like you tend to forget sometimes that it's a real world outside of your world out here. And we get to the spot and we shooting this one part of the video. I'm very aware. Like a homie come up, he like, yo, he stepped into the shot, and it pissed me off immediately though, because we was shooting and he stepped into the shot and he like, yo, I want to holler at you. So I'm lightweight pissed, so I ain't trying to say too much, and I'm like, cool. And then he more aggressive, like, yeah, I want to holler at you as soon as it's over. And I'm like, I peep it like, okay, there's some kind of play right here, right? So now I'm even more aware. Then when he back off, whatever, I see two cars hit the corner, like wop, wop, tinted windows. They pull up, probably like half a block up the street. I see these cats jumping out with AKs. You know what I'm saying? About, 5 or 6 young dudes jumping out with AKs. So, my little team that was around me, they get to, pulling their action and all this. I'm like, whoa, I say shit. Like, no, that ain't that serious, bro. Like, but it was just, that shit just moved me, man, in a whole different way,
Okay, so you're sitting here trying to film a music video.
A video, dub.
And suddenly guns are getting drawn in both directions. And how does that thing get resolved?
It don't, like, it didn't turn into nothing. Like, as soon as I see them cats pulling them A's out, ain't nobody see it but me. So I'm like, I jump off, we was on the bikes then, so I jump off the bike. I'm like, yo, come on, man, let's go. They like, nah, what's the deal? And I say, yo, these cats, they got them things on them, whatever. So then, my cats just start like, who? Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, look, man, we ain't even about to turn it into this. Like, this shit ain't that serious, man. So, and everybody, they got it. Y'all niggas got it, man. It's cool,
Okay, so you guys basically just shut down the production and just go somewhere else.
Yeah, hell yeah. We shut it down. That's their spot. They don't own shit in that spot, but if it's yours, bro, you can have it, I ain't on that kind of time no more, man.
Right, because you're what, 40, 44 years old right now?
Yeah, it ain't just because of that. This a whole different world out here, man. Ain't no rules out here, man. I like to move around in places that got 4 corners, man. So I know if I go too far this way, I'm gonna run into a wall. Like, this shit out here unpredictable right now, man. I ain't, yeah. I'm trying to live for my babies.
I mean, do you feel if you were 10, 15 years younger, if it was the old Lyfe Jennings?
Oh, yeah, it'd have been lit. It'd have been lit.
Like, no one's going to tell me where I could film, like, that kind of mentality, you think? And then things might have escalated?
It definitely was potential for it,
Well, congrats for the maturity, man.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so regardless, the video actually does get made.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets released. And it's a lot. It's a lot from the outset. I got to watch the whole thing very carefully. And there's a little disclaimer in the beginning. So I'm seeing this whole disclaimer of this is nothing against... Basically, you pretty much mention all the people that could get offended by it, right? And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I wonder where we're going here. So it starts off with what looks like a scene from Roots, right?
Mm-hmm. Alex Haley.
Yep. And it's a black man getting whipped by an older white man.
Kunta Kinte, right?
Exactly. But as he's whipping this black man, there's a bunch of younger black girls who are filming on their phone and laughing while this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So explain what the significance of that is.
I mean, it might be something different to everybody, and I want to leave, room for everybody to make their own emphasis from it. But just for me, it's just like our society right now, man, we really get off of, instead of trying to diffuse violence, we want to film it. We want to film it for 40 likes. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it's about. Like, if it's a black man, white man, Korean man, Jewish, Christian, whatever it is, like, we really feel the need to film it just so somebody else can see it without making the situation any better. I just think that's whack,
Well, but I mean, on the flip side, if no one had filmed the George Floyd incident, we would have a very different perspective on it. It might have never,
Listen, it's always a flip side, man. Like, we can justify a whole bunch of shit. You can damn near justify anything. You dig what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, when I talk about that, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the people who just go out here, who ain't got nothing else to do, who just trying to get some likes on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever. That go out here, man, and just, they wildin', man.
No, I understand. I mean, I play devil's advocate sometimes in these conversations, but I understand what you were saying, because not only were the girls filming, but they're also laughing while it was being filmed.
Which happens more times than not.
Yeah.
Look at me just going viral, like Cassius is like it's funny. It's and for what? Like, what if that would have affected my shows, which it ain't never gonna do, but what if it would? Now I can't feed my kids or something like that, all because you wanted to get 35 likes and repost it. That's just whack, man.
Okay, so the whipping stops.
Now the whipping never stopped. It just stopped on camera. But go ahead, though.
Okay, well, the whipping stopped on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then the man the man that was getting whipped put his head up, and it's Kanye West.
Mm-hmm.
And then the white man walks up and shoots him in the head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And before that, you had actually posted on your Instagram, you said Kanye versus the Jews.
Mm-hmm.
By himself at that. I'm so curious on how things is going to go. What y'all think? Will he apologize like Nick Cannon did?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, this is a reference to what Kanye is going through right now.
Partially.
You can't say it's not. I mean, clearly there's...
I didn't say it's not. I said partially.
Yeah, partially.
Right.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. What do you think about what Kanye is going through right now based on the comments he said, not only about Jews, but he also said some really foul things about black people as well?
I think, I hate to relate everything back to the prison, bro, but that's like such a big part of my personal experience. So when you're in jail and you start realizing that it's knowledge out here, like you get interested in reading the history behind stuff and where that it come from. You get a lot of people when they first begin and they get that knowledge, they just want to share it with everybody. But probably 70% of it that you get, you look at it as truth, but really it's just truth that was taken in and brought out as an opinion. It's an opinion more so than it is truth. It got truth sprinkled in with it, but it's an opinion of that truth. And I feel like that Kanye is one of them dudes that Kanye will read something and get excited about something because it sounds good and just regurgitate it as if it's the truth instead of going and really doing your research behind it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like who Kanye is, man.
Well, yeah, because if you look at the timing of what happened to him, Candace Owens puts out that documentary that basically tried to say that George Floyd didn't really die from the cop's knee, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the knee wasn't really on his neck and really it was fentanyl that killed him. Kanye goes on Drink Champs and regurgitates that information.
And again, like just in prison, that's what happened. That's how I start off. When you start getting this knowledge, people really, at least in my experience, the black people really get angry when they really look into how slavery was. You know what I'm saying? And they get angry with this new information. So then it's really like, oh, I don't like white people at all, because that's the first stage of it. But then it's a whole nother stage after that. The next stage of it is that you read into, it's not really a black and white thing, but it's a human thing and it's a money thing. So then you start to dislike people a little bit more and you start to dislike policies. And then the next level of it, well, let me get involved in policies because I can shape the thoughts of the people with these policies. And I just don't think that Kanye got there, man. He had such a huge pedestal that he fucked it up before he had a chance to really get into the policy part,
I mean, yeah, George Floyd didn't die from the cop's knee. Harry Tubman didn't free the slaves.
How you know? Like, for real, how you know that the man didn't die from the cop's knee? Let's say he did. Let's say that he did, for argument's sake, have fentanyl in the system or whatever. But how you know that it's the fentanyl that killed him? And how the fuck you know?
You had a full trial. You had a full-blown trial where the cop had, the best lawyers that the police department, paid for. Mm-hmm. Right? There was a full trial. There was a jury. There was the prosecution and the defense. He got to defend himself and say, no, it wasn't my fault. And the jury unanimously said that it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the other cops were convicted as well. The last cop got like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, Rosa Parks was a plant. It goes on and on. And, I don't know. I mean, like looking at it though, looking at the video though, it seems like you're kind of, the fact that he gets shot in the head, it does seem like you're kind of painting him as a victim to a certain degree.
No, that's how you perceived it. And that's why I say everybody had their own perception. I think that, one thing I learned when I was in college is that what they used to make us do is, whatever side, they would ask us first what side was we on. And then we'd tell them, okay, well, I believe that this side is correct. And then they say, well, I want you to write a paper defending the other side. And that really makes you go into that even though their opinion might still be wrong, there are still some truths in it. But those truths is going to get wiped away because of, again, the opinion, the outrageous opinion that dominates, you dig what I'm saying, the conversation. And in that scene, Kanye wasn't a victim right there. It was just society killing off people that's still in the first stage of development that just want to regurgitate just some shit that they heard. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what that really was about to me, And you can't see, but that problem even come across because, people say shit like, all right, well, black people, white people, Jewish people, this, that, and the third. You can't put Jewish people in that conversation like that because Judaism is a religion. And so when you put it in that conversation, it kind of puts that religion as a race of people. And so it's easier for you to try to attack that race of people because you think it's a race of people when it's not. You see what I'm saying?
Well, I'm Jewish. It actually is a race of people.
Jews is a race of people?
Absolutely. My mother, if your mother is Jewish, you're considered Jewish, and you could actually track the DNA and everything else like that.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Yeah, you got to teach me on this because
I'm a Russian Jew. I'm an immigrant.
So Jew is not like a word for Judaism.
Well, it could be both, right? You could be Jewish by blood, and you could also practice Judaism. You could convert and be a Jew. You know what I'm saying? Just like you can convert and be a Christian, but it is considered a bloodline and a DNA. So, for example, in Israel, you see a lot of Ethiopian Jews in Israel because they actually found that this large group of Ethiopians were reading the Torah and practicing Jewish customs, and they did DNA tests and they said, oh, okay, this whole area of Ethiopia is actually Jewish people, and they were allowed to become citizens of Israel. And so forth.
No, I'm confused. So what you're telling me, and again, see, this is kind of shit that need to be talked about right here because
let's talk about it.
Right. So you saying that Jews are a race of people, and if Judaism came after just after the Jews.
Well, no, I think if you go back, to like the 12 tribes of Israel, I mean, the people who decided to, the people who identified as that. Were a group of people that ultimately had kids and carried on and everything else like that. But I mean, if you think about, for example, what happened in Nazi Germany, like Hitler he wasn't just killing people who were religious, he was killing a race of people who were Jews.
Hold on, wait, I don't mean to just turn into something else, but I don't want to go there first. I want to go back 12 tribe of Israel, because from my understanding, you had Judea, which was all 12 tribes, 10 tribes defected, moved up and created Israel. So what I'm saying is, are you saying that is a race of people? Before Judaism, that Jew is a race of people?
Yeah. You could say the Jews are a race of people, and you could actually trace your DNA and everything else like that, to be Jewish or not be Jewish. And according to the religious part, it's if your mother is Jewish, you're Jewish as well. Which to me is sort of stupid because at the end of the day, I mean, the father and the mother will, give the same amount of DNA to the kids.
So what is the original? What is the original land of the Jews then? What is the original land? Like, where did they come? Because Africans, you could say black people, Africans, they come from Africa. So where did that come from?
I mean, that gets a little bit beyond me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to tell you that, geographically I could tell you all that, but I do know that I'm Jewish because my mother was Jewish and her mother was Jewish and her mother was Jewish. And you know what I'm saying? And living in Russia, Jews were very much ostracized. They weren't allowed to go to certain universities, couldn't get certain jobs. That's why my family defected to America. You know what I'm saying?
And that ostracification, it was for what? Because I read a lot of things. Well, you know what? This probably ain't the conversation for right here, but I do got a lot of questions, man. And I'm quite sure a lot of people have the same kind of questions that I have, including Kanye. And maybe if he would have got them questions answered, then he wouldn't have been in the situation that he in. You dig?
Right. Right. And for example, you look at the Black Israelites, who say that their bloodline is traced back to, the original tribe of Israel, some of the original tribes. And that may be true. You know what I'm saying? Like you could potentially do DNA tests, and that might be actually true. There's, like I said, there's Ethiopian Jews. There are Black Jews. There's Ashkenazi Jews who are white, who look like me. There's Sephardic Jews who are more brown skinned, who are like the Middle Eastern Arabic Jews and so forth. But everyone sort of has a common DNA that kind of ties them all together. Because, as time goes on, you intermix with other races and so forth. People end up looking different over thousands of years. You see what I'm saying? So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. People just got to stop getting mad at every damn thing. Everything ain't racist to Black people, and everything ain't anti-Semitic that people say either, man. Like, you dig? Sometimes people just say shit and had no meaning behind it at all. You dig?
Yep.
But that's dope, man. That's dope. I'm glad we had this conversation. So,
Absolutely. And, both of us could go and research the parts that we're, a little bit unsure about.
Mm-hmm. And I will.
Okay, so let's keep going with this music video. So then the next verse was about a girl whose boyfriend was pressuring her to get a BBL.
Mm.
So she gets the BBL, and it ends up looking kind of jacked up.
Boy, Vlad, you like this goddamn video though, didn't you, boy?
Hey, man, listen, I'm not going to sit down with someone and be unprepared. You know what I mean?
No, I like it though. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Right. So she comes out, and the BBL is looking kind of lumpy and weird.
Kinda.
You know what I mean?
And that's truth too. Like I know, man, them things, 80% of the time, they don't go right, bro. Like,
Although I feel like over time, the BBLs have improved. Like the early BBLs, the 2022 BBLs are definitely very different.
Yeah. I
know?
feel you.
So the BBL ends up looking fucked up. The boyfriend leaves her, and then she kills herself at the end. Is that right?
Yeah. But even that's symbolic. The dude, he might necessarily pressured her verbally, like, hey, go get a BBL, but because of what he likes, she want him to like her too. So she go out and do something to her body without doing something to her mind. So it's already an imbalance there. And then at the end, when she kill herself, maybe it is a physical death, but at the same time, it's also mental because she becomes so depressed and she becomes so dependent on other people liking her, then her mental is just rearranged and her life is rearranged as a result. You dig?
Yeah, plastic surgery, especially BBLs, that's one of the most dangerous things you could do. Period.
Yeah.
And just drastic plastic surgery. If you look at Kanye, who we were just talking about, he claimed his mom was sacrificed. His mom wasn't sacrificed. She went and got like a full mommy makeover. You know what I'm saying? Like she went and got like this huge plastic surgery. And I actually looked up what happened, after he made those comments. And the doctor that she went to originally, the Beverly Hills doctor, when she met with him, the doctor told her, okay, you could potentially get this operation, but because of your age and your weight and your medical condition, you first need to go to this other doctor to get cleared. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Which might involve getting on some medication, maybe waiting a few weeks, potentially maybe even losing some weight first. She decided to just skip all that, find some other doctor who didn't make her do all that, gave her the operation, and then after the operation, she had a cardiac arrest and died.
Yeah, boy. That's deep. See, that's why I'm never one that's going to tell a woman what to do with her body. But I think it's within my realms to tell you what not to do with your body.
Right.
You dig? I can tell you that it's not going to make me like you better. It's not going to make you better, period. It might make you feel better for a moment. But in the end, man, you need an operation on your mind, if anything. Yeah.
So then the final verse. You got a guy with a Kyrie Irving jersey on who goes for like a layup, and the Ku Klux Klan, a guy with a KKK hood, basically blocks him from making the shot.
Right. Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So this is clearly about the situation with Kyrie posting the movie, and then, basically being told that he has to go and meet with all these people And then ultimately he ends up losing his deal with Nike. That was like $11 million a year and so forth. Why do you feel the symbolism that the Klan was the one that sort of stopped him from playing?
That scene wasn't even necessarily about Kyrie or the Klan or none of that. You know, that scene for me was really just about that. First of all, if you see Kyrie was minding his own business. He was in a park and nobody else was around. He was just doing his thing. You dig what I'm saying? Then somebody just appeared in the shot and disrupted his shit, disrupted the shot. They didn't know why he shot the ball. They didn't know if it was a buzzer beater. They didn't know where he was in his head with it. They just decided to disrupt his shit because, again, the Klan just felt like that they knew why he was doing what he was doing. And I just felt like that needed to be talked about, man. You know, specifically Kyrie, you know, and again, I don't got no $11 million deal, goddamn it. Unless I got a goddamn brown paper bag sponsorship or some shit, man, you dig. But that man, you take $11 million away from this man because he posted a video about something. He didn't even say that the parts in this video that people say were, you know, wrong or, you know, whatever they were, anti-Semitic, whatever it was. He didn't say that he liked those parts. He just posted the video. That's it. You know, and how many things in the world are equally right and wrong at the same time? You watch the news. There's a lot of racist, anti-Semitic, anti-gender, gay bashing shit that go on every damn day in the news. But we take the parts that's informative to us. You dig what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what he did. And I feel like that's what we do, but we be penalized for the shit. That's all.
Well, there's a line in the song where you said, bury me with chicken and waffles so I could bring PNB Rock what he ordered.
Yeah.
I like that. I actually like that.
Thank you, man. Because he didn't deserve that. He just wanted to order. You dig what I'm saying? That's what I feel like I do with my music, man. I take niggas the shit that they order. Like, again, all the racist shit and all that, I leave it to other people. Y'all can take them that. All I want to do is take you good vibes, man. I want to take you good information. Just like what we talked about, the Jew thing. I'm going to go home and I'm going to read about that and I'm going to get it down pack. And then I'm going to go on my page and other interviews and I'm going to share that. That's what I want to do. I want to take you what you ordered, bro. Something that's the sustenance, the real order. You dig?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, I live in LA and, I mean, that shit is maybe 30 minutes from where I am right now. You know, it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy. And in the song, you actually give a long list of RIPs.
Ain't it amazing how many it is? It's so many that they rhyme. That's what was crazy when I was doing this shit. I'm like, it's so many I could just pick. It's so many for me to pick from. I could pick names that rhyme. That's a problem, man.
Yeah, I mean, you had DMX, Takeoff, King Von, Young Dolph, Tupac, Big L, Pop Smoke, Mac Dre, XXXTentacion, Nipsey, Jam Master Jay, Biggie.
Mm-hmm. And that was just a couple. Them was just the ones that rhyme. You know, it's Mo 3. It's a whole bunch of other cats in there, man.
FBG Duck, Ching Struggs. Yeah, I mean, the number of people I have interviewed that have died violently is depressing. Depressing. Especially in some of those interviews where I basically was warning these young men about what would happen if you continue to stay at that same place. Like, you know, I told FBG Duck in both interviews, I'm like, yo, you need to move. Your brother just got killed. Your man just got killed. You've gotten shot. No, I'm good. I know how to move. I ain't worried about all that. Mo 3. Yeah, you know, I'm not worried no one chasing me down in Dallas. I'm good. Someone chased him down and killed him in Dallas. You know, it's a shame, man. But, you know, I like the way you put it together.
Well, thank you, man. And I hope nobody was offended. You know, my dude Super Coop shot the video. Chris Shine helped me, you know, with the beat and all that stuff, man. But these are the images that we need out here, man. You know? And you should do a documentary. I think that'd be so powerful for a person to see you interviewing a cat and then he died next to it. Then you interview him and he died next to it. Because that finality, a lot of people are always talking about get this, get rich. That says that it's a future. But an interview like that show it's a finality to this shit too. You dig?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're no stranger to putting out songs that, kind of ruffle people's feathers. The Slave song is probably the one that stood out the most to me.
What? Hell no. That shouldn't be the one that stand out the most to you.
Well, in terms of controversy,
Yeah, okay.
I'm gonna read the lyrics here. I'm
nah,
gonna beat it like a
we
slave.
know what they say. You ain't about to bring up none of that shit, Vlad. Nah,
all right. Well, I mean, it's your song. I mean, you sang it.
Yeah, and in retrospect, again, like we make mistakes. I think that even though it was a great idea, I think that I just my disposition of that idea wasn't flattering. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. You did? So yeah, we ain't gonna relive that.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, so are you saying you kind of regret doing that song?
I don't regret shit that I did because it lead me where I'm at. But what I'm saying is sometimes when you're trying to reach a certain, like a GPS, you're trying to reach a certain spot, but you take a lot of turns and it wind up taking you longer to get there. And sometimes you never get there. And the whole point is to get there. I don't think that I got there with that song. I got to stick to the damn GPS. You did?
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, that's mature of you actually saying that.
Yeah.
Because some people be like, I don't give a fuck, just stick to it.
But again, to go with your purpose. Like my purpose ain't to have people upset and have people fighting each other and hurt. That ain't my goal. So, I do give a fuck.
At age 14, you were sentenced to 11 years in prison. And I actually looked into the background of this. And, well, I guess what had happened was before that happened, at age 13, you were sent to juvenile for 7 months for drugs?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did that 7 months. And that was the first time you got locked up, right?
No. That was the first time I did, time like that,
Okay, so what were you getting locked up before then?
Just little bullshit like truancies, drugs here and there, like, stuff like that, man.
Okay, so, but you did the 7 months, and when you got out, did it change you at all? Were you like, nah, I'm going to go even harder this time?
I don't remember.
Fair enough.
I don't remember. I just, at that time, again, take it back to the GPS. I didn't have a destination in. So the cat told me a long time ago, I was like, asking for a direction. He was like, well, if you don't know where you're going, then any direction you can go in. You can go. If you don't know where you're going, you did. One of them times.
Okay. Well, and then the actual situation happened. So you and your friends, I guess, try to firebomb a house of a drug dealer?
No, that's not what happened. That's
okay,
not
so
what
explain.
Happened. That's what they say.
Okay.
Just without going into it too much, man. It was how sometimes cats will go to do a robbery. You know what I'm saying? A cat will go do a robbery and nobody has any intention on doing any harm to anybody because they really there for the bread. That's where they GPS at. I'm trying to get this bag. And they get in there and then one or a couple of them will decide that, I don't know what comes over them and they wind up, enacting some violence. And the other ones that was there didn't necessarily sign up for that shit, but they're part of it now because it happened in the same building as the rest of the shit they was doing. And that's just in a nutshell what happened with my shit. You know what I'm saying? I wind up doing a whole bunch of time, for not telling on some niggas or whatever, and the shit went left. Not a good part of my life, you dig?
Right. Well, it ended up being the wrong house. And a mother of 6 who was age 25 ended up getting killed.
Okay.
Now, did they tell you at that point, listen, tell us the people who did it and you could walk away or just get a slap on the wrist?
Yeah, like, some juvie shit or something like that,
Was there a reason why you didn't cooperate at that point?
I mean, there's several reasons I didn't. One of them reasons being, like, I feel like that you signed up for the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of shit that people go into and then they try to say shit like, oh, well, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But the shit that you signed up for led to this and that. So you got to eat it all. It's like we ain't caught, only you caught. So why you gotta bring everybody else into it? And I didn't feel like I wanted to do that. At least that was one of the
Okay.
reasons.
I mean, the guys who actually did it,
We ain't
did
gonna
they
go
get
into that. We ain't gonna go into all
Okay.
that.
All right.
Let's not
Fair
go
enough.
into that. Right.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, you get 11 years. And weren't you in the hole in solitary confinement for a while?
Shit, a lot of it. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay. So what does that do to a teenager? You know, because, for example, like I interviewed Michael Franzese, who was a major mafia guy. And I asked him, what was the worst thing he had went through while locked up? Because he did a bunch of prison time. He goes, honestly, the hole. Solitary. He's like, humans are not made to be put in solitary. They're social creatures. Getting put in the hole was the worst thing I went through in my life.
I spent 8 years in prison, 29 months and 7 days in the hole. I was in solitary for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, they kept me in lockdown. And I got to tell you, that's not easy. You know, regardless of what anybody says, we weren't meant to be solo creatures. We were meant to be social. And I heard when the lights went out at night, you heard a lot of guys moaning and groaning. It was a tough situation. So, I mean, I know what it is to hit rock bottom because I was there for a long time.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I thrived in the hole. I liked it so much I used to do shit just to go to the hole. Because for me, I mean, and I understand that that's his story, but for me, the most shocking thing for a teenager was the violence. And I'm not talking about violence you get there and you see one small thing and then you might see this here. No, I'm talking about that shit is, bro, like that shit's so violent and it's almost like a culture shock. So, and I'm not even talking about just the physical part of it. It's a mental part. Like niggas is extorting folks down there. It's you got cats down there committing suicide. You got cats that ain't eating because niggas is taking all their food. And for me, I mean, I'm built for that shit. I was a part of some of that shit. But in the reality of it, bro, I wouldn't really own that shit like that, bro. I don't want to see that shit every day. In the whole, I ain't got to see none of that shit, you know?
Okay. So you personally, what was the craziest thing that you personally saw in prison?
That I personally shit so many that I could tell you stories. It was niggas down there used to rape niggas, but it was a fetish for them. Like a nigga, I ain't gonna say no names, and then there was a nigga that used to pretend like he was weak, like would literally let people suck him, like take his food and do shit like that because he wanted people to think that he was weak, so he could lure them somewhere and then rape them. That was his shit. That was his shit, man. It was the weirdest shit you had. There was another incident. It was a CO counselor lady that was like really, really cool with everybody and befriended everybody trying to help them get home and get placement for when they got home and stuff like that. And then cats one day, you know, I hear them talking about what they gonna do to the lady. And, you know, niggas talk all the time, but even in my mind, when I heard it, I'm just thinking like, man, I hope these dudes ain't serious. And then the next day, you see they done went down there and killed the lady, and you know, and did whatever they did to her and cut her. Man, I could tell you some shit. Like, I'm talking about like ridiculous shit that you might not even believe. Like when I told the Dahmer story, like niggas ain't believing that, but bro, I got some shit I could say, you know.
Okay, and this leads me into the Jeffrey Dahmer question.
Mm-hmm.
So Jeffrey Dahmer, who went and essentially ate a bunch of people, he turned them into zombies, raped them, ate them. I mean, most of them being minorities, ends up in the same prison as you.
Right.
Now, how old were you at the time when you met him?
I don't even remember. It was the beginning of my bit though. And it was at a time like people say, oh, well, he wasn't in the same prison and how was you that young and close to him? But anybody in prison understand how this works. When you got a high profile dude like that come into prison, he's going straight to the hole. He's not going to populate. He's not doing none of that stuff. So therefore, anybody that's in the hole at that time, which I was, anybody that's in the hole at that time is going to be able to talk to him. Is going to be able to interact with him. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
Okay. When you initially met him, and, you know, it's not like in prison.
Bro, I don't know why people be saying this shit. Like, I call him home. I call everybody homie. I didn't meet this dude. Like, I didn't play cards with the nigga. Like, I didn't do none of that, bro. Like, he was next door in the cell. I sang. I was always singing because that's how I did my thing. I was a porter. I'm like, porters, if you've been to anybody in prison, know porters sweep the floor and wipe the railings and shit down. And they let me do it because I was young, you know what I'm saying? And I was singing, and he just happened to make a request, which a lot of people made requests. And I would just sing. So I didn't meet him. We didn't eat together. He didn't tell me why he did what he did. I don't know, bro. Like,
Okay, so you were just in his vicinity.
Right, exactly. I was just in his vicinity. That's it.
You're in his vicinity. He asked you to sing because he actually was a fan of R&B.
He actually didn't ask me to sing. He just was like, do you know Pretty Brown Eyes? He didn't say sing Pretty Brown Eyes. He was just like, everybody was throwing out requests, and he was one of the requests. Do you know Pretty Brown Eyes? And so, yeah.
Okay, so you sang the song for him?
I ain't singing for him, bro. Like, listen, I sang the song. I ain't go to the nigga's cell, like, and sing in front of the cell. I ain't do none of that, man. People just blew that shit out of proportion, man.
Okay, well, you're clearing it all up now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got a request from a random person.
Right.
Who happened to be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right.
You sang the song.
Mm-hmm.
Any other requests from him along the way, or that was the only one?
Nah. Wasn't really even no other conversation besides, I ain't gonna even go on all that shit, man. Because niggas be blowing my shit out of proportion, man,
Okay, well, and then Jeffrey Dahmer ends up getting killed by another inmate, Christopher Scarver.
Wasn't there either. Wasn't there when it happened.
Okay, was it the same prison or no?
No, it wasn't because he had which what people don't understand is he is from another place, but he had bodies in Ohio. So they sent him to Ohio, and he was already convicted of that. They just wanted him to hear family statements, some shit like that. So that's when he only came in for a second, and he was gone.
Okay. Did you know when he got killed, or that was just not even on your radar at that
Honestly, like, I didn't even really know who he was at the time because I had been locked up. So and when you first go to prison, like, you pretty much locked down, so you don't got access to news and that. So when all that stuff came out, I had no idea. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Did you watch a series on Netflix about him?
I watched a little bit of it. Like, my old lady had been watching, and that jogged my memory because after he had left, people were speaking about who he was. And I still didn't really know. I still never followed it. I never read about it. I never nothing. But I remember that they spoke about it. So when I saw just a little piece of the documentary, I was like, damn, that was dude, like, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I just spoke about it. Just touched on it, Which I shouldn't have.
Well, I mean, it's all part of your story. I mean, it is what it is. It's the truth.
Yeah, I don't be liking the flack. I don't want no smoke, period,
Well, at one point, you actually do get out of prison, and you start meeting with different labels. And one of the labels you meet with is Murder Inc.
Right, yeah. I forgot about that too, yeah.
Okay, and there's sort of an interesting story behind that.
Yeah, the homie, well, let me start calling people the homie, because niggas be... So this dude that I know, and y'all, DMX played him in Belly. The dude Cleve, which, yeah, like, anyway, everybody know who Cleve was for real. So Cleve, he told me before I got out, he was like, yo, Irv and them, them my people or whatever. I want to send you, when you go back to New York, I want to send you up here to holler at these cats or whatever. So, well, yeah, I went up there, and it was his people,
Okay, so you meet with Irv Gotti.
Yeah, I met with Irv.
Right. And at that time, Murder Inc. was on fire.
Right.
So you got this, they have the deal with Def Jam. Ashanti is on fire. Ja Rule is a force of nature at this point. He's multi-platinum.
Rightfully so, right?
Rightfully so, right? So here you have the successful hip hop and R&B label, which seems like a great fit for Lyfe Jennings. Right. And you were going to sign the deal, but then Irv Gotti said something as you were leaving.
Yeah, I felt comfortable up there with them dudes. Like, it was always a couple of gangsters up there quiet. I mean, for better or worse, I just liked the mood. I always was into that mood. And so when I came in and chopped it with Irv, Irv is very animated, but he's creative. He got a lot of energy, so that's expected. And Irv, he listened to my stuff and he was just like, yo, this is, blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm going to either sign you or I'm going to sign this kid right here. And you know who the kid was that he started playing me records from?
Who's that?
Lloyd.
Okay.
So he playing me all the Lloyd stuff. And he like, yo, either I'm going to sign you. He was like, but you kind of already street step coming home from prison, so I could put you with Ashanti and this, that, and the third. And in my mind, I'm just like, cool, I'm already sold. Plus Cleve my mans, you know what I'm saying? So, and I like the mood. So I'm already sold. And he like, yo, we going and then Irv is a cool dude because he gave me way more money than anybody else had gave me. Like he offered me way more money than anybody else. So I was already sold. On my way out the door was actually right in between the door thing. Irv was like, yeah, so what we gonna do is we gonna get rid of all of this stuff that you gave me and we just gonna make them some idiot music. And I stopped. It's like, idiot music. He was like, yeah, so what we got to do is we got to give them something super simple and idiot just so, you can get a buzz and then we'll deal with that deep shit later on. And I said, all right, but in my mind, I was like, nah, this ain't the place for me. I get what he doing, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not so much in it to just get popping and make a temporary impact. I wanted to do some shit that was long lasting, you did? So.
Well, yeah. I mean, because the stuff that he wanted to throw out ended up being your first album, right?
Right. My dude Cleve was hot. My Cleve was hot too. I was trying to calm Cleve down, man. Like, bro, no disrespect, man. I just, this ain't for me,
Right, because that material that was going to get tossed out by Murder Inc. ended up becoming, a platinum or multi-platinum?
You talking about that Must Be Nice, that Cry, that Stick Up Kid, that Hypothetically. He wanted to throw out all of that, man,
So it all kind of worked out in its own way.
It always do. And that's why I'm really like, I don't really never really trip about nothing, man, because I know it's all working towards my best interest. All these little blog sites, I look at it like, all right, that's where I'm supposed to be at this time. I ain't going to cry about it. I'm just going to use it,
Well, yeah, and recently, some interesting Murder Inc. news came out. There was the comments that Irv was sleeping with Ashanti, during the making of all that. He put all that out there, and she was kind of upset that came out. And what was actually interesting also is Ashanti, I think she went on Breakfast Club, and she talked about the story about working with this producer that said, oh, you don't have to pay me, just take a shower with me.
What? I didn't even...
Oh, you didn't hear about this? Oh, yeah.
Nah, I didn't even hear that, man.
Yeah,
damn.
Yeah. And she turned him down. Basically, I think it was like $50,000 a track, but he's like, oh, yeah, I'll waive it, but just take a shower with me.
But that happens so much, man. That's really another like sad thing too, man. For a woman, she could be super talented and it doesn't mean nothing. The only thing of value is her body to a lot of cats. And a lot of times, even for her talent to get heard, she got to go through this thing with them. Like she got to decide either I want to be hot or I don't. And in the course of me being hot, I got to sleep with somebody. That's a fucked up position to be in,
Oh yeah, I mean, it's called fucking for tracks. You know what I'm saying? This is you never heard that before?
FFT?
Yeah, FFT, fucking for tracks. Yeah, I've heard this term for 20 years now in the music industry. And it goes both ways, right? Some women will purposely sleep with a producer that may not be interested in really working with them in order to get some tracks. Other times producers will try to basically extort a woman to sleep with them in order to make songs for them and so forth. I mean, you could say that was sort of the R. Kelly thing, right? You had, R. Kelly allegedly, had all these young girls around him and he was a huge hit maker and he would sort of dangle the, hey, I could make you a star, but you got to do certain things for me.
I think that shit is so corny, man. I think, it really, you really putting yourself in the way of God, for real, for real. Somebody got something to offer to the world and you stand in front of it, you putting yourself in a position to get ran over. Maybe not right now, but even just look at R. Kelly. I know he looked back on that like, damn,
Right. I mean, because, like, for example, Boosie's a regular guest on my show.
I see that.
Yep.
That's the little homie, though. Right.
Yep, that's the homie. And Boosie is adamant that no living human being could beat R. Kelly in a versus.
And by the way, nobody can go in a versus battle with R. Kelly in the world, living or dead. Y'all lucky he in trouble, motherfuckers.
Wait, hold on. That's a good question.
Nobody. Who you gonna call? Michael Jackson? No.
Beyonce?
Beyonce? No. Nobody got more hits than R. Kelly. Nobody. I'll wait.
Living human being. Yeah, he too strong. R too strong. Cause the only other person that you can even think about is Chris Brown. Like, you know what I'm saying? But Chris ain't as deep. It's like R got that pop stuff and he got that hood stuff. Like it's hard to compete with that, man. He did shit with Celine Dion. Like it's hard to compete with that shit, man.
Hero, You Are Not Alone for Michael Jackson.
Right.
Okay. That's who could beat him in a versus if he came back to life.
Yeah, Mike got him, hands down.
Mike could destroy him in a versus, but R. Kelly was writing hits. I mean, if you think about it, I think that You Are Not Alone was Michael Jackson's last hit song, I think.
Maybe. I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? It's like after that, he sort of kind of just stopped doing music for a while. And you know what I'm saying? Like, but that was sort of like Mike's last hurrah. Like, You Are Not Alone, written by Robert Kelly. And I mean, shit, he wrote some of B2K's biggest hits, like Girlfriend and wrote for Nivea. And I mean, he was just a fucking beast when it comes to creativity, but ultimately, he's probably going to live out the rest of his life in prison.
And it's crazy because that's his legacy now. No matter what else that he's done, good, his legacy is that, man. And that, that's another reason why I try to stay on course. Because I don't want my legacy to be prison. And that's what people tend to always talk about with me. And I need to motivate myself to do more. Like I'm about to, again, I just started my production company. I'm about to shoot great visuals to kind of go against all these negative visuals that we have. I'm gonna do some scholarships in college. Like I just want to really work on my legacy right now, man.
Well, you had mentioned Chris Brown being a potential, versus with R. Kelly. Akon said something really interesting recently. He said that Chris Brown could have been the next Michael Jackson, but he surrounded himself with, gang members and so forth, and it kind of got him off track. And I remember when Chris Brown first came out, when I heard his voice, I was like, yo, this dude could be the next Michael Jackson. Like his vocal tone, and also like his look and the way he dances. I'm like, yo, this kid, as he was a teenager, I'm like, he could be the next Michael Jackson. But along the way, he's had some speed bumps that I felt, drew him away from that. I mean, what's your take on that?
My take is that he's human. Like, at some point, you got to be able to separate the man from the craft. You know what I'm saying? You think Hitler is the one that created the damn Volkswagen, the People Mobile. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you can't say that the People Mobile at that time wasn't a great thing, and you can't say Chris Brown music at that time, regardless of who he was, it was about his music at that time. And I think that, the gang affiliation thing or whatever, gang today is synonymous with friends. Maybe it's just some people that he liked that just happen to be gang members. So now Chris is in the gang, but you don't know that for real, man.
Well, hold on. I mean, but to be fair, I've seen Chris Brown in clubs throwing up blood signs and the whole thing.
Man,
you see what I'm saying?
Man, you know how many little niggas, bro, ain't really in no gang for real. They just...
Oh, I understand, but once you start doing shit like that, you're now putting yourself in that vicinity. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you putting yourself in that vicinity, but you're not putting yourself in that gang, man. It's a fad. You know what I'm saying? Most of this shit is just a fad, man. It's something that these kids, they see so many other people doing and it becomes cool, man. I don't hold that against him, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate a person for who they are. Like you. Like, I think that you do great interviews. You go over the goddamn line sometime when you be asking niggas shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I can appreciate you because I think that your biggest goal is to get information out that other people wouldn't have been able to get out. You dig what I'm saying? And with Chris, I think that his goal is not to be in a gang or none of that other shit. His goal is to create the best music that he can,
And he's created some timeless music
Haven't he?
along the way.
And don't that overshadow the rest of the shit? You know?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
I just, as a fan, I just felt that he could have gotten higher. You know what I'm saying? It just seems like with Michael Jackson, he devoted everything in his life to creating. Like, he knew what he was supposed to do, and he knew how he was going to do it. Like, for example, I've interviewed, Michael Jackson's producers. I've interviewed Darkchild. I've interviewed Teddy Riley. Like the one thing they told me, because I asked them, I said, what is it about Michael Jackson in the studio that's different than any other artist? And you guys understand that the guys I'm talking to produce Whitney Houston and produce, have Grammys under their belts. And I remember they both told me the same thing. And Rodney Jerkins told me this first. He said, when Michael Jackson goes into the booth, he dances so hard that his shirts are drenched by the time he gets out of that booth.
Michael danced in the booth so hard that the headphones would be coming off his head. He had to have like three different pairs of t-shirts with him because he would sweat out his t-shirts in the booth. He sweat them out because he's performing the song in the booth. I remember when we did Rock My World, and he sweated out that he had to change 3 times, and that's every song. That's how much he gives, how much energy he gives in the booth.
Just all out.
All out. All out.
You see what I'm saying? He gets so into the music that it's not just a vocal performance. It's like the full-blown concert right there in that booth with just 1 or 2 people watching. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not normal.
So you saying Michael Jackson loved what he do more than Chris Brown loved what he do?
I think Michael Jackson had less distractions when it came to the music. He knew that this was his only thing that he's going to focus on, and he's going to do it on a level that nobody has done it before, which he did.
That's a big point that you just made. That might be one of the biggest points of this interview.
Yeah.
He had less distractions. That's why I give these kids a little leeway out here, these young cats, because, man, look at the distractions that they got that me and you didn't have. You know what I'm saying? Even with just having a phone that they can carry around all the time, even that alone is a huge distraction, man. So I think these young cats deserve a little more leeway than we give them at this time.
Yep. Well, you talked about, not doing albums so much anymore and doing something called 6-packs, where you just do a group of 6 songs that would come out. And one of the artists that you were working on songs with, I don't know if it actually came out or not, was Omari Hardwick, who is Ghost.
Omari, yeah.
From Power.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had no idea that he was a rapper, but apparently he raps.
And he a beast.
Beast.
Mari is a beast. You got, ask him to sing you some stuff, man. Mari, man, and not only is he a rapper, he has to be one of the best beat pickers that I've ever seen. When he get a bundle of beats and the ones that he pick out, you listen to them beats and you be like, yo, because that's a talent. Being able to pick the right beat. Dude got it, man. Dude got it.
Okay. Has he released anything, or is this just stuff that you guys have heard together?
This is just stuff I heard from him, but he working on it. I actually talked to him the other day, because he doing something on my album. I'm going to do something on his.
So you got an album coming out?
Me?
Him?
Oh, him? Yeah, he got an album coming out.
Okay. Does he have a rap name, or is he coming out as Omari Hardwick or Ghost?
I never asked him. That's it. You should get him on the show and interview him.
I got you. We'll get his contact from you.
Yeah.
We'll set it up. Okay. Well, one of your biggest songs, SEX, with Lala Brown.
Right.
It's got 10 million streams on Spotify. Is that your second biggest song?
I don't know. They all big to me. Hell.
Yeah. Well, one of your biggest songs. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't realize is what had actually happened to Lala Brown. So I guess, Lala Brown, aka Yolanda Brown, I guess you had met her because she had, worked at a strip club or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Was that like, when she jumped on that song, was that like her first like vocal appearance on an album?
Yeah, she wasn't even supposed to be on that song. Actually, I had another girl on that song, and the girl had already finished the song, but her boyfriend was her manager. And I don't know why he got into his mind that maybe me and her had something going on, which, I would never do that. And he stopped letting me talk to her, straight calling her on the phone. He was like, yo, you gotta run it through me. Bro, first of all, I ain't asked you to sing on the song, right? So I'm not running nothing. You a manager, you can talk to my manager. And so basically when he stopped that, I just was like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm doing, a service to you. And so I started looking for somebody else, and Lala I just happened to meet her in the club,
Okay, so she came to the studio, laid down the same part, basically?
Yeah. She laid the same part down in her own unique way, which added to the song, I think.
Great song.
Yeah.
Definitely one of my favorite all-time songs by you. I got
Thanks.
to listen to it on the way here, and just the way it sort of breaks down like a young girl kind of figuring out her sexuality and having men try to take advantage of her and everything else like that. It's almost like every father's worst nightmare in a song, kind of, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's something that's forever. People, that's going to be relevant forever.
Absolutely. So she went on tour with you at one point?
Yes, she went on tour with me.
Okay, and then she left the tour. Was it under good circumstances or not so good?
Come on, man. You know the answer to that. Why are you trying?
Okay. So a situation happened where she got kicked off the tour. All right?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I'm going to just keep it all the way, huh? Because I don't know how to be. I don't want to be lying. They didn't have to backtrack on lying. Lala was a lot to deal with. And I think most talented people are. They got so much energy, man. Very well liked. Like it was, I can't even tell, because me personally, I didn't think Lala was that fine to me. But I'm talking about every single dude. It was something about her. They used to lose their mind about this girl, man. Like, she was just special, like, and that kind of got to her head. Like, I remember one time we was on tour and we was in Lala hometown. So Lala was already there, and I come to the dressing room, and there's a security dude at my dressing room. He don't even want to let me in the dressing room. He opened the door. He said, wait a minute. He opened the door and asked Lala, is it all right for him to come in? Lala was like, yeah, he can come. I say, no, this shit got to stop, bro. But yeah, so we had some words on tour, and we had words before. And my intentions was to just send Lala home for a little while, and hopefully that she would, because I don't want no beef on the tour between her and my band and none of that. I sent her home. And then we had an argument when she got home. So I was just like, yeah, it's just best for you to stay there,
Okay. Well, she left the tour, and her and her producer, a guy named Kool-Aid, were shot and killed.
I mean, again, in retrospect, if I didn't knew that was gonna happen, then I would have figured it out,
Of course. I mean, who would have known something that tragic was going to occur?
One of the low points of my career, yeah,
Okay, so when you heard the news, how bad did it affect you?
I mean, look, we used to all sleep on the same tour bus, eat together, everything. It was almost like, she was a sister, you know what I'm saying? So to see something like, and then to know that you was the one that sent her home, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not a good time, you dig?
Right, because from what I understand, 15 years later, it's still an unsolved case.
Which is weird, but I guess it happens,
When you look at what's happening right now in Atlanta, the YSL case, 28 guys got indicted over the case, some of which have gone home now. Guys like Gunna or Lil Duke, have pleaded, taken their RICO charge, have gone home. Young Thug is still there. I guess he's facing life is what they're saying. But when you look at the indictment, I read through it very carefully, there's lyrics all throughout that indictment. You know what I'm saying? There's the argument of, is it art, or are some of these lyrics actually tied to certain crimes? Now you yourself, you've done your time, so you could talk about whatever crime you did in your song, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But when you there's probably some things out there that you probably think, well, I probably shouldn't write this down, not because I get in trouble, but this might implicate certain people or so forth.
Right.
Is there a lot of thought when you write lyrics down, worrying about the repercussions of it?
Yeah, a whole bunch. I mean, that's regular writing thing. If especially if I'm writing like a song about the street, it's a lot of stuff that I'll omit, because I don't want, bodies and something like that and kidnappings, that stuff don't go away. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think like with the Fed thing, I think these young kids don't really understand how the feds move, bro. Like, first of all, when the feds come, they know what the fuck you did already. They illegally wiretap everybody, including your mama, so they already know the play. The only thing that they trying to do now is get corroborated because they didn't illegally wiretapped you and they know they can't use that in court. So now they just need somebody to say what they already know. You dig? So 9 times out of 10, that's why you see so many cats, 28 cats, and probably 15 of them ain't really did nothing, but they know something about something and they can corroborate something. You dig what I'm saying? That's how that shit go.
When Gunna first got out, I had made some tweets about it, and his lawyer actually contacted me. And by the way, they're facing a state RICO, not a federal RICO.
A state
which
RICO?
It's a little different, but it's still the same overall guidelines, but it's the state versus the feds. So, there's that.
That's better. That's better.
Yeah, it's better for them. Exactly. And the lawyer called me. We had a long conversation about it. We posted up a follow-up article about it. And he basically said, look, like, yes, Gunna agreed. He said that he was in YSL. He said that YSL was a gang. He also said that he's seen other members do crimes in, continuance of the gang. But
hold up, he said Gunna said that he's seen other members?
Well, there's a video of it. You know what I'm saying?
And he said that he's seen
crimes. Yeah, he
Wow.
said he's seen crimes. Now,
Wow.
when I talked to the lawyer, he said, look, I set it up for him where he didn't implicate anybody. Yes, he said crimes, but he didn't say what kind of crimes. It could have been smoking marijuana or whatever else. And, he feels that what Gunna said can't be used against other people. And if the state were to call Gunna, he could invoke the fifth. You know what I mean? My argument was, well, yeah, but he's also adding, by him saying that YSL is a gang, it's establishing the whole RICO premise. And the people they really want to take down, they now have all these people that have pled guilty to saying YSL is a criminal organization. It's not just a music label. And it's a very fine line. Some people are saying, like, for example, Boosie is very vocal about calling Gunna a snitch.
And we need people like Boosie said. I think at the end of the day, bro, you just can't say shit. And I don't know his set of circumstances. I know everybody, he might got babies that he feel like it's more important for him to be home with his babies. I don't know. But what I'm saying in the bottom line of the shit, you just can't say shit, bro. You can't say nobody was doing nothing, committing crimes. And because it's just like you said, I feel like that they could just call a bunch of people to say, yeah, I ain't saying the specific crimes that I saw, but I know it was crimes. That's enough to establish a RICO right there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you just really, man, if you're in that situation, you got to be built for it, man. And it don't mean that he's a terrible person or a lame or whatever, but it just mean that, bro, like that ain't no cool shit,
I mean, in your situation, if you had completely cooperated and told on everyone around the firebombing situation, could you have walked away with nothing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But you chose not to, which meant that you gave up the rest of your teenage years and part of your 20s.
But I don't feel like I gave that shit up because, I knew what I was doing when I was going. I may have went to do some different shit, but at the end of the day, it's just like the way the law is set up. And me and you go and we gonna steal a bike from a dude. And then when we go and we push this dude, you push this dude off this bike and he hit his head and he died, I'm guilty of a murder. You dig what I'm saying? And I can't really say, oh, I went down for a murder and I didn't do nothing but take the bike. No, bro. What we agreed to do led to that. So I'm just as culpable. You dig what I'm saying? So it ain't no sense in me saying shit about nobody. I gotta eat it. I knew what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I interviewed this guy, Banky Pound. Him and his man went to go do this robbery. His man went and killed the dude. He was in the other room. He did like 30 years. over a murder.
Happens all the time.
He did not pull the trigger, but he was right there doing the same amount of time as the trigger man.
Yeah, I mean, I see so many cats that was in prison that the same situation, had no intentions, just really needed some money to buy their kids some baby formula and some hotheads and killed somebody, and they doing a whole life bit, man. It's just and I'm one of them cats. I say a cat can do whatever he want to do. Like, you know, I did it, but at the end of the day, the same energy that it took you to plan out that crime or to become this drug kingpin or pimp or whatever it is, you can use that same energy to do a business or something. You could be either just as successful or more successful, man. It's just easier to do the street shit. You dig?
Well, let me say this. I have interviewed some of the biggest drug dealers in America over the years, the Freeway Rickies, and the list goes on and on and on. And I can tell you that when you look at the body of work and the stories that I heard, there's usually a very interesting consistency that plays throughout it. And that is this. If you're a drug dealer, right, for every year that you ball out on the streets and fuck all the girls and drive the nicest cars and wear all the jewelry and the furs, you will do 3 years in prison for every 1 year that you're out. It's always been that number, give or take. So if you ball out for 5 years, you're going to get 15 years in prison.
Wow.
And is it worth it at the end of the day? Is it?
Hell no, it ain't worth it.
You know?
No.
And the other consistency that I found is that all these dudes that, let's just say that they were rich when they got locked up, and they got all this property and all this money and all these assets. They put the property in this person's name, and they put all this cash in this other person's name. When they got out, none of it was there.
Yeah, I think that's a common theme too. It just don't last like that. The quick, I don't know what it is. The quick money never lasts. The long-term money, I guess, because you respect it more. You know?
Yeah,
that's just life.
Yeah, no, I remember Freeway Ricky told me the coldest shit. He said, yeah, you know, I put a bunch of properties in someone else's name. When I got out, it was still in their name and they weren't going to sign it back onto me. And there was nothing I could do about it.
Right.
You know?
This life shit is serious, man. This life shit is not a damn game, man. Before you know it, like I'm 44 years old now, bro. Like, it happens like that. You dig? 15 years in the penitentiary, and then you looking around like I done missed so much and you ain't gonna never get it back. I just hope that these cats hear the shit that I'm saying and take something from it, because this shit is happening to a dude that is just like you. He said the same shit, probably had some of the same jokes you did. And it just didn't turn out the way you thought it was, you know?
What'd you think? I mean, recently T.I., an old interview resurfaced, and he talked about how he caught a gun case and his cousin was part of the same case. His cousin died, so he cooperated against his cousin who was dead to get out of the case. Some people say snitching. Some people say it's common sense.
From someone like magic.
You. That's magic?
It's magic. Come on, man. Homie dead, man. I mean, shit. Like, it ain't like he gonna be mad at you. It ain't like he gonna be sitting in no penitentiary. Hell, that was a blessing. Shit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I interviewed Birdman's brother, Terrence Gangster Williams, who was doing life plus 30. And at one point, he cooperated. You know, he had a group of friends who had a bunch of murders who were all dead. And he cooperated and basically managed to close a bunch of cold cases in the hopes of, you know, shortening his sentence. A lot of people were upset about that. You know, Boosie felt that I was still snitching. I talked to Tony Ayo, and it's like, well, did he tell on a person or did he tell on a ghost? Sounds like he told on a ghost. You know what I'm saying?
What? He say he did what now? He told on who now?
Well, Tony Ayo was like, did he snitch on a person or did he snitch on a ghost? Because if he's snitching on someone who's not alive, you're not actually telling on an actual person.
Oh, and I also gave him some murders with Sterling and Dooney. So some of my people that I'm at odds with now, even BG was upset about it too, because they was like, man, you know, you tell it on the dead. You know, I didn't look at it like at the time. I was like, well, you know, this is a way I can get up out of prison. I'm not testifying on no one. I'm gonna give them this here. They're gonna cut my time. Cool, but I understand, I respect it that telling is telling, because we made those rules. You never go sit down and talk to those people regardless. I made the rules and broke the rules. That's why when I first came home, I was met with resentment or anger from Birdman when I first come home because of that. I didn't get the red carpet.
Yeah, I mean, it just go to, every individual is different. Me, I look at it as a blessing. If the cat ain't here, he ain't doing no time. I ain't got to see his mama cry or his kids go without food because he ain't there. I think it's all fair, man.
So you would cooperate against a dead person?
I don't like to use the word cooperate. You take, but I'll say that he did that shit. I didn't. He ain't here. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like, when you look at these street rules, right? These aren't laws. These are just ideas that circulate. A lot of times people will go and follow these rules. Okay, I'm not going to cooperate. I'm gonna play the rules the way that my community has set up. They go and do all this time. They get out. What's the prize that's waiting for them at the end?
I mean, it depends. It depends on your goal, because for me, like, if you signed up for this shit, then you in it. And you should have thought about that shit before you did whatever it is that you decided to do. Because these is the rules. And I'm not saying that they right, I'm not saying that they wrong, but what I'm saying, when you signed up for these rules. You dig? And if your ass ain't built for it, then don't take the reward from it. Because I'm quite sure that these moments that you was out doing it or whatever, you enjoyed the parties, you enjoyed the money, you enjoyed the balling. And now when it comes to some shit that you're not going to enjoy, now you want everybody else out here to go to jail and suffer with you. You dig? Nah, that shit ain't cool, So that's the reward for me. Shit, knowing that I was a stand-up dude,
Yeah, but you were lucky enough to get out and sign $1 million record deal and suddenly have a career where you could make all this legal money. You see what I'm saying?
True.
You're probably one of the 1%.
True.
The other 99% come out. They're now 20, 30 years older. They're walking into a world where they don't even understand it. All they know is the penitentiary. I remember I interviewed this girl, Loca D. She went to prison. She did 31 years for killing 2 Latin kings. She says that now that she's home, she painted bars on her window because she can't sleep in a room that doesn't have bars on it.
I have bars on my window because I still need to feel like I'm in prison sometimes. I wake up in the middle of the night and realize, oh my God, I'm in a real bed. Like, I can get up. Sometimes I wake up and look around and wait for the officer thinking the officer gonna do a walkthrough so I can ask him, can I go to the bathroom? That shit still, I just did that for 31 years. So that's the shit that I'm accustomed to right now. And it's hard as fuck out here. It's not easy. It's not easy when you don't have nobody to support you or nobody to help you because you're a convicted murderer.
That's how serious it is. So you get out to this world, you can't sing, you can't make music, your skill set is very limited, you have no job experience, you have a felony on your record, which prevents you from getting a lot of jobs and getting an apartment, so you have to shack up with a woman and live under her rules. And ultimately, you have a very hard life, which is a lot of times why you see so many of these guys coming back to prison again. And the people that you kept, that you didn't tell on, how often do they really say, okay, you didn't tell on me, I appreciate it. I'm gonna cover all your expenses and I'm gonna take care of you and so forth. I never really hear that happen.
Shit is like forgiveness, though. It ain't for them, it's for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's so many things that you could say in the same nature that you have a kid. You wasn't ready for no kid or nothing, but you still got to take care of that kid. And maybe you didn't say, oh yeah, I signed a contract, I want to have a kid and I want to take care of him for 18 years. Nonetheless, you created a situation that inadvertently made you sign that contract. Like I don't feel good for you doing bad, and I don't feel bad for you doing good. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is. It's it's flip sides of the coin, you know?
You have 6 kids now.
Yeah, I got 6 boys.
Any plans for any more?
Hell no. No,
No?
no, hell no.
Okay. No, as in I'm not planning on having any more, or no, I had a vasectomy and I can't have any more?
Oh, I definitely ain't nobody clipping my balls, bro. Like, you know, but I don't plan on having no more kids for sure.
Okay. You were married very briefly at one point in 2016. Am I right that this marriage lasted 41 days?
Somewhere around there. Somewhere around there.
Okay. I was married for 8 months at one point. It didn't work out. I thought nobody could beat me, in terms of how short my marriage was. But you've managed to beat me. Like what if you can't talk about it, what caused the breakup so quickly after the marriage?
It was more of an arrangement than anything else. And that's what I'm gonna say about it. Great girl, powerful young lady in all rights, just didn't peak the way we expected it to peak. Let me just say that.
Well, you have a beautiful child.
Yeah,
from that,
yeah.
So
yeah. The homie
so
dope.
ultimately,
Yeah.
So ultimately it worked out in its own way.
Yeah, the homie, he's a dope guy too.
When you look at someone like a Nick Cannon who has 11 kids and 1 on the way, so you're halfway there. You're halfway to Nick Cannon.
I ain't gonna reach it. I ain't gonna reach that. I think that I would be cheating the kids if I had any more after this. It's having 6 kids and really being able to remember their birthdays and the stuff that it's an involvement thing for me, man. I don't have any more time for any more kids,
Yeah, I mean, Akon, who's been a regular on my show for years now, he has 9 kids, and he made an interesting comment. He goes, yeah, I don't go to recitals, and I don't make it to every holiday, but that's not really my goal. My goal is, am I taking care of my children? Am I making sure they're good people? I'm making sure they're respectful to their mother. Are they going to school and becoming intelligent? But he admits that because of his 9 kids, he doesn't go to every school recital, every play, and everything else like that.
They gonna remember that, and that's how I be feeling. Like my goal is not to just provide for my kids, because there's a lot of stuff that I turn down because my kids have something going on. I think that my goal is, I can never predict or make them come out a certain way, but my goal is to be there enough that they understand that if it don't go the right way, then they can come to dad. And dad is going to be able to tell them some shit that's going to make it okay. That's my goal. The money, that shit, you buy your kid a $1 million toy and he going to play with the box. It happens every day, man.
Yep.
So, if that's Akon goal, I don't knock another man for his own goal. But for me, that's not even in my top 5 goals for my children.
Well, last question. You did an Instagram post, and I think it was Candace Owens talking about toxic masculinity.
I didn't even know there was Candace Owens. I just like to, yeah.
Yeah. Candace is not one of my favorite people. I mean, she was the one that did the George Floyd documentary that Kanye, ran with.
Never saw it, but okay.
Yeah. So it seemed like, if you take the messenger away, if you look at the message, she had an interesting message about toxic masculinity. Something to the effect of her grandfather was like a real man's man, and everyone knew not to fuck with the grandfather because he would really his opinion was strong, and that taught the kids how to respect men and so forth. And it seemed like for you to put that up, it seemed like that kind of hit, a nerve for you in terms of what you believe.
Yeah, I don't even know why that was such a big post. I didn't know who she was. I don't know what else she had done until now, actually. And yeah, because I do believe that we try to paint this picture of what a man is supposed to be. And we know damn well if we try to paint that same picture of what a woman is supposed to be, Me Too movement, Oprah, Gail, everybody gonna be after our dog ass, you dig? But yeah, people always try to paint what a man is supposed to be. And I do feel like that regardless of preferences, it's also a nature of men. You know, we naturally aggressive, and I think we need to be like that in this world we live in, man. And I don't think that it's okay for people to always say that that's a bad thing. It might be a perceived bad in some instances, but not every single goddamn time, man.
I mean, listen, I agree. And I think that sort of the conflict in what's happening right now is this. You have women as a whole who want equality, right? Which is what everyone should have.
Yeah, but they can't be, let's be honest. You can't,
well,
can't
hold
be
on.
equal.
And here's my point, right? They want equality. They want to be treated fair and equally. But most of these same women also want to be treated like women, which means preferential treatment to a certain degree.
Right.
A woman, how many women are okay with paying half the bill at dinner? You know what I'm saying? How many women really want to split the bills with their man? You know, and this is coming from a man that's always paid for dinners. Any woman I've ever been with since college, I have paid all the bills for. Right? If she makes her own money and she adds, cool. But she knows that Vlad will pay all the basic everything since I was in my early 20s. Right? No women really want to go 50-50 and so forth. But in the same breath, they get mad when there's no equality of it. You know what I'm saying? When they're prepared, you know, so it's, I feel like there's sort of this almost dichotomy of what's happening right now. And that's what's causing some of the problems.
Yeah, and you know what else too? I think that people live in a fantasy world and just don't want to be truthful. They just latch on to everything that sound good. Just because it sounds good don't mean it's true. Like, there is no equality for women. And I know I'm about to get bashed for this, but there isn't. Because do you really want to see the toughest woman go up against Mike Tyson in a boxing match? Is that equal? There's no way you can be equal. The toughest woman is on the same stature as the weakest man. So if you talk about some things as far as intellect, then yes, a woman can be this and a woman can be equal on certain playing fields. But I think that it's not only wrong, you know, in true or false. It's false for you to say that, but it's also dangerous because you set these young girls up into thinking that they could possibly beat a man, and you can't beat. But it's okay because it's. I don't need you to be a man. You dig what I'm saying? What I need you to be is a partner. You dig?
Right.
And I don't need to partner with another man because I'm already that. I need your womanly senses, your womanly instincts that I can't get from another man. So you cheat me and you cheat yourself by even imagining yourself to be equal with a man. You better than a man. You did?
Yeah, I remember on the Breakfast Club you did an interview where you felt that female rappers these days are acting like male rappers.
Yeah, still.
Explain.
Boy, you about to get me killed on this shit, boy. But I just feel like women have been treated badly, systematically, inadvertently, and on purpose for so long that it's like it's accumulated into propaganda. And so soon it's her rite of passage that she broke up. A man is gonna break your heart. He gonna do this. He gonna do that. He gonna think that he better than you. That I think that women rappers now, it's almost like revenge. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna do the same thing to men what they had did to us, you know, for all of this period of time, without asking themselves, does it make it right? Because you can go kill somebody in retaliation, but then you a murderer too. So that's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree. Like, as a lifelong hip hop fan, I personally don't want to listen to a female rapper talking about how many dudes she's fucking and how
Right.
her pussy is, you know, running the world, and like how she getting all the money out of these dudes and making them trick off.
I might want some of
like
that pussy, but I don't.
Right. I may want the pussy, but I don't want to listen to the stories about it. This is why,
Yeah,
like, when
man.
it comes to female rap albums, I have yet to hear something more powerful than Lauryn Hill's first album. because
was a hell of an album.
she embraced being a woman on that album. Now she was spinning bars like, Lost Ones and everything was dope, but there was also like, the breakups and the heartache and the hurt of being a woman that was unique to her experience of being a woman. And as a man who has had relationships with women, like that shit, I was relating to it. Like I felt it.
Yeah.
I felt it.
And what is a munch?
In a way.
What the fuck is a munch, man?
Right.
Like,
Well, a munch.
What do you know what that is? Like,
someone explain it to me. I guess it's a dude that girls will basically have just eat their pussy that they're not even interested in. I'm just gonna have them eat my pussy and throw you away afterwards.
and niggas do that for real?
I mean, yeah. I'm sure some do. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, that basically you're being used for oral sex. And you think you thought I was feeling you? He's a munch. I eat him for lunch. See, get it?
Okay, yeah, I get it now. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a very masculine type of hip hop. Yeah, I had this shit give me some head, and that's all I wanted, and I threw her out afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to fuck her. I don't like her. I just like the head. And it's a very male-oriented kind of song that a woman is doing, and it turns out to be a hit song. But I mean, it's not something that I really want to listen to.
So I think that right now that women is like the number one connoisseurs of music. Like they the ones that really drive the music biz, period. So I guess for them, hearing that again, it's like more like some get back. Like they make it popular. Because to dudes, we ain't singing it. We ain't running around talking about eating munch and ain't nobody singing that shit.
I hope not.
Yeah, hell no.
All right, man. So what's next for you? What do you got coming up?
I'm shooting movies now, man. I direct, a lot of stuff, man. I think that's a passion of mine, man. I finished one movie, which is my life story, which is gonna be coming soon. I got a lot of other great ideas. I'm writing scripts. One of my main focuses is to just shoot content that's going against the regular content, something more refreshing and not so negative. I just spent a gang of money on all of my own equipment. About to hire me a staff coming in the next year. Definitely, my kids is getting older, so I'm out here setting them up with real estate and different things like that, man. I'm just trying to just keep on growing, man. Not be so negative and become a little less aggressive as I get older. Cause these young niggas out here, I don't want one of these young niggas to beat me up or no shit like that. Then I'm gonna feel some kind of, I gotta shoot him or something like. So I'm trying to prepare for that phase of my life. You dig what I'm saying? Slowing down, man. Regular shit, man.
Yeah, I mean, look at Boosie. Boosie just finished his third movie.
Man, I
totally independent.
That's one of my heroes. I be watching Boosie and I be waking up literally the shit he be doing, and I be like, I can do it. Like Boosie is the inspiration, man. Like to a cat like me, anyway.
To a lot of people. I mean, to me, he's an inspiration, and I've known him for 20 years now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, you talked about setting up your kids. When you see, for example, what's happening with Master P and Lil Romeo, how they're beefing with each other, and Master P was like, "Yo, you're 33 years old. Like, I did everything to keep, I got our family out the ghetto, and it had, and you grew up in mansions and so forth, and I helped get your career on track, but you're in your 30s now. What do you expect me to do for you?" And the son's like, "Oh, you spent all my money on paying your taxes, and I never got no rap chips money." And you see this, what I consider like a spoiled rich kid, complaining that he's not living the lifestyle of his dad. You look at, for example, like Shaq. Shaq had this interesting interview where he talked about his kids. And he's like, "I told my kids, we're not rich. I'm rich. We're not rich. I'm the rich one here." Yeah. I mean, now granted, like, you and I don't have Shaquille O'Neal money, but like, you do live, you've showed your house. You live in a nice house. You're comfortable. Your kids are probably growing up a lot differently than you do. Are you worried about your kids being spoiled, not having the same motivation, turning on you at one point because you didn't get them that Ferrari that they wanted on their 16th birthday and stuff like that?
Actually, yeah. But I mean, that's just most stuff for me to figure out how to deal with. My kids are definitely spoiled. And I think that kind of sting you even more if you didn't have nothing and you did something for them and, they kind of became sport off of that. When you work to the bone, because at this point, you know, I also look at, like, I paid a lot of child support. You know, I just bought my first kid his car, a brand new car, and different stuff like that. And you got to understand that before these kids are kids, that they're humans, and they're going to get used to the way that you treat them, you know, whether it's good or bad. And I do worry about them getting, because I already had a situation with two of my oldest boys, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just fighting to trying to figure out not let my ego get so involved, because I'm aggressive and I be wanting to fight. Like, y'all grown, like, you hear what I'm saying? But it's definitely a challenge, man. You know, I'm trying to figure it out like anything else, man.
Yeah, man, that's life for you. You just gotta deal with it as it comes and do your best, and realize that these kids, even though they came from you, you know, they're gonna go off and do whatever the hell they want, just like you did, you know, on your parents.
Right.
You know, I'm sure your mom wasn't planning, you know, on you going to prison for 11 years, but ultimately, you know, the way you turned out ultimately made her smile.
It saved me, actually. You know, I ain't never wanted to, you know, give credit to no prison about nothing, but that silence saved me. That hole, being in a hole so much, it gave me an opportunity to have nothing else left to do but just read. And then through that reading, you know, I just gained so much insight, not only about myself, but about other people. And then also in that prison, nobody has anything. And so, I'm just gonna give you one story, and I know you got to go or whatever, but like, I ain't like gay people, and I didn't like gay people just because that it was a like a hood taboo, like it was taboo, like, yo, you gay ass nigga or whatever. Like, that I grew up in that time like that, and so I took that same thought process to prison. So I just sit at the table eating, and cat that was gay would come try and sit down, and I'd throw his food on the floor, like, nah, you ain't we here, you know, blah blah blah. And then the situation happened. It was a dude that I didn't even know he was gay, right? And I used to talk to him sometime, kick it with him or whatever. Never even knew he was gay, right? Very briefly though, right? So got into it with a group of dudes, and this dude came and fought with me. You dig what I'm saying? And then cats was like that he was gay, but in my mind it just clicked in that people are people, man. Like, no matter what. So that prison just put me in a place that I'm not judging nobody off of nothing. Not that they white, even that they black, gay, they race, religion, or whatever, man, that people is better off being viewed as people than the shell that they in, you know?
Yeah, I mean, J. Cole, you know, who I know you're a fan of, you know,
Yeah.
had this line said, ain't no such thing as a life that's better than yours. And that's true.
Yeah. His other
That's
line
true.
he said, came a long way, too bad you went the wrong way.
Yeah.
God damn, yeah. Yeah, man.
That's how it is. Lyfe Jennings, man, always a pleasure. I've been a
Definitely.
long-time fan from the first time I saw you play at the Apollo before you had a record deal. I knew that you were a talent. I'm not surprised you've gotten to where you've gotten, you know, and you continue to drop dope projects, dope songs.
Thank you.
And looking forward to what you got coming up.
I appreciate you, man. I'm waiting on that autobiography or something from you, man. You dig?
Oh, yeah. It'll come eventually.
And I'm gonna call you. Hey, I'm gonna call you. I'm going home today. I'm gonna read up on all that Jewish stuff, and I'm gonna call you.
No problem. Get my number from your management. You know what I mean? We'll connect.
Absolutely.
That's what it is.
All right, man.
Peace.
Thank you. Peace.